So we're going to parse some JSON.
Yeah, we're going to parse some JSON.
JSON, not to be confused with JSON or the person Jason.
No, those are not what we will be parsing.
Yeah.
JSON,
JSON, is a very common, what is it when you put letters together and it means something?
Acronym?
Acronym. It's a very common acronym.
It's technically not an acronym.
It's not.
No, it's I think they call it an initialism.
Initialism.
Yeah, like NASA as an acronym,
right?
But CIA is an initialism.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know the difference there. I might have to parse that later.
It's whether or not you actually say it.
Oh, okay.
I guess, but it's hard because JSON.
Pronounce the letters, yeah. JSON.
Maybe it is an acronym. Anyway, it stands for JavaScript Object Notation.
Okay, and it's used all over the web.
Yeah. It got a lot of popularity, and now it is kind of the de facto standard for using services on the web.
And if we're using our mobile devices, they're going to have to access data over the web. And this is one of the ways that they do it.
Yeah. It's really cool. Basically, JSON, I think it is actually an acronym. I misspoke.
Okay.
Anyway, JSON.
I'm sure the fact checkers will get us on this one.
Yeah. JSON is basically an object. And the same way that you could have like a Java class create an object. It's just a different format.
And that format is a lot of braces.
You use braces and brackets and basically semicolons to delineate.
We're
the
looking
key
at
value
some
pairs.
of it here, and there's quotes I see as well.
Yeah, for each key is in a quote. It's a string, and strings are also in quotes.
And there's a nesting that we saw there. So when you, I like to say unpack. Can I say unpack?
Sure.
When you unpack some JSON, you have to get the entire object, and then you have to locate the data that you want within that object. It might be nested several objects in.
Yeah, you basically kind of want to, when you're parsing, you just want to keep going key and then the value. And that value is not always like a number or a string. It might be an actual object or an array. In this case, you can kind of read JSON parsing when you're doing it the raw way here backwards. Where if you look up there at the top, you have topping.
35.
Yeah, 36. You're going from topping, and topping's value will be a JSON array that we're getting. And so they were saving it as a JSON array. Here, now we're going to loop through that array, just the way you would loop through any kind of array. But kind of trying to parse things backwards in terms of each line. Same thing like on 35, right? We have S, which is a string. We're getting a JSON object. And then from that object, we're getting a JSON array from topping. And then here, we're going to do the same thing, where we're going to, the kind of key is going to be on the right-hand side. And then the value will be on the left-hand side. Because we're trying to pull that data out from this unpacking that you're kind of mentioning.
Got it. And right here we have line 72 is topping is the key, and the value is you're using brackets, and the brackets stand for an array in this case.
So we got that as a topping JSON. And so what I was looking for there is like, okay, well, it's an array of what? It's an array of objects.
Objects denoted with the braces.
Yeah. And here I'm just going to misspell for no reason because I'm trying to think about it forwards instead of backwards. Normally, actually, when I type this stuff, I actually just type it backwards.
Oh, interesting.
Depending. But yeah, see, there we have I as the index for getting the object. So there's an object because of those brackets. And then we're looking for our next key. You're always looking for your next key value when you're jumping in.
Now, you use root JSON and JSON object to describe basically your naming system for these JSON objects. Everything is pretty much a JSON object. A JSON object contains JSON object. So,
well, they're not all JSON objects. Sometimes they're strings.
Right.
Sometimes they're arrays. JSON object is one of the things. That's probably not the best thing I could have called it. I probably should have called it like topping object to specify like, okay, it's a JSON object, but what does it represent in this data structure?
Otherwise, it gets a little too generic.
Yeah. So that's my bad. I could have done better there.
Well, maybe they'll do better.
And also, this is this they should already know how to do. We're just connecting a list view now that we've kind of converted it to an array. This isn't the only way to parse JSON. In fact, there's many more powerful technologies to use now. But if something goes wrong with those technologies, you kind of have to know this stuff in order to be able to fix it.
Right. And I noticed you've wrapped it in a try-catch.
Yes, because when parsing something, you're dealing with unknown data. So that data could be empty, wrong. You could look for it to parse something that doesn't exist. And so naturally, when you're using those particular methods, they're going to throw an exception, which is like, hey, you told me to get the value for topping, but there's no toppings in this particular cake.
Got it. Do you have toppings in a cake? I thought toppings were for...
I guess they're on a cake.
On a cake.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a filling.
Right. I mean, a donut could have toppings.
A donut could have toppings. Yeah. But yeah, cake is...
You don't generally see like a bacon cake.
I've seen a bacon cake.
Oh, well, I haven't.
San Francisco, come on.
Oh, that's true.
There's a whole bacon fest that they have there. I've seen square bacon, actually. That was quite interesting.
So, what's this string adapter? What's going on here?
Oh, I'm just creating an array adapter that will take because I actually got all of the data as a string and then stuck it into an array of strings
on 42.
Yeah, and so here we're just quickly putting it together by sticking that data, a row, and the context object, and then we're going to apply that to the list view.
Got it. So the adapter is simply to give yourself that opportunity to drop into the list view.
Yeah, and there's any number of ways that they could do this. We're kind of starting to open things up, but it is important to not always provide this list view stuff. At this point, they should be pretty comfortable just creating a list view.
It's extra practice, if not.
Mm-hmm. And then, sure enough, we have parsed JSON.
I like it. Glazed, sugar, powdered sugar. These actually do start to sound like donuts.
Maybe they are toppings for donuts.
It's making me hungry.
Let's go get something to eat.